What's going on, guys? So you got a really nice camera for Christmas and you're not quite sure how to edit your photos. You take some nice pictures of the kids, the dog, the cat, but what do you do with them once they're on your computer? You know they don't look great, but you're not sure how to edit them. Today I'm going to show you the one app every beginning photographer should have on their computer. It's called Luminar. Stay tuned. So you got a new camera and you've started taking a lot of pictures, but what do you do with these pictures? You probably have some pictures that look great, some pictures that look awful. So how do we fix the awful ones? Today I'm going to show you how to use Luminar. Luminar is a standalone app for the Mac or the PC, or it can be used as a plugin if you own Photoshop. Photoshop is a very powerful program, but it comes with a steep learning curve. The folks at Skylum have developed Luminar to be very powerful, yet very easy to use. Today I'm going to take you through 3 different pictures, and you can download these photos in the description of this video. You can also click the link to download a demo of Luminar and try these ideas yourself. Okay, we're now inside Luminar and we've opened up the cotton candy image, and just a reminder, you can download this image right in the comments of this video. Let's take a look at the interface for Luminar. First of all, the image is right in the center of our workstation here, and then we have some controls here on the right. On the very right, there are 4 different workflow buttons. The first one is called Essentials, the next one is Creative, the next one is Portrait, and then Professional. We're just going to use the Essential workflow with this picture today. Now the Essential sounds basic, but it is so powerful that it's worth the price of Luminar alone. Let's take a look at the very first set of controls, and that is the light controls. We have a slider for our temperature, so if our picture is too warm or yellow looking, we can push it that way. Or if it's too blue, we can push it that way. We have exposure controls to make our picture brighter or darker. Why don't we leave ours right about there? We have a smart contrast slider. Now, we can turn down the brightest parts of the image using highlights, and we can brighten up the darkest parts of the image using shadows. Now, I will close that controller. There's a little eyeball at the top that I love to use that gives you your before and after. So if we click the eyeball, we see before and after, before and after. You can already see in 2 seconds that our picture is looking automatically better. Now let's take a look at one of my favorite sliders. It's the AI Enhance, or Artificial Intelligence Enhance. This tool should have really been called the Just Make My Picture Look Better slider, because watch what it does. When I slide the slider to the right, it looks at the image and it adds contrast, it adds color, it adds brightness, and it darkens things that are too bright. So here's before and here's after. Now, which one looks better? Obviously the after, and look how easy that was to do. Let's come down to our AI structure. Structure is a type of micro contrast. It's contrast in the smallest details. But the AI part of it determines which part of the picture needs this contrast and which part doesn't. So for example, if I slide it all the way to the right, you can see the cotton candy has lots of contrast added to it. However, the man's face doesn't. Let's turn it to right about there, and we're all set. Let's look at the next set of controls, and this is for color. Now, we can slide our Vibrance slider to the right. Vibrance adds saturation to parts of the image that aren't very saturated. So for example, it doesn't really do too much on his skin, rather it adds more color to the cotton candy. The saturation slider just adds more color to everything. Now, do you see how orange the man's face is? We definitely don't want that. I much prefer to use the Vibrance slider over the saturation slider. Okay, we've done 4 controls. Let's take a look at before and after. Here's before and after. Before and after. When you look at the before, doesn't it look like there's almost a gray haze to the picture? And we didn't see this when we opened up the picture. In fact, when we opened it up, it looked pretty good. But look how far Luminar has helped us take the picture. Okay, here's our next image. It was a picture I took in a park in Madrid, and we have some water, a nice blue sky, and this sort of steps and statue location that I thought was really nice. So we're going to edit this in Luminar now. Before we do any of the fun stuff with all the colors, I want to go through and clean up a few things. So what I'm going to do is click on this pencil and ruler icon, and then click the erase button. What I want to do is come in and erase the people sitting on the steps and erase these garbage cans. I like the people in the boats because they obviously add to the atmosphere of the park, but let's take those people sitting on the steps out. So all I do is click and color them in. I'm going to take out the trash cans, and I'm also going to take out their reflection in the water. There we go. Now we have some people standing in between these columns. We'll take them out, and we'll take out the people standing right there. Now I'm going to hit done, and the computer is going to render a new version of the picture with the people removed. And there we are. Let's zoom in and take a closer look. We can see nobody's on the steps. We can see that the people that were in this column are gone, and the people on the edge of this little fence here are gone. Now let's do the fun stuff. So right away, the image color looks good. The exposure looks good. So we don't need to brighten or darken anything. So I'm going to go right to AI Enhance, and I'm going to turn it all the way up, and look what it's done to our image. We've added a lot of color. We've added a lot of contrast, and I think it looks great. Let's come down to AI Structure. Now remember, AI Structure adds a little bit of contrast to the small details in your image. So in this image, we're going to add contrast to our trees and to this concrete texture. So I'm going to turn it up. Maybe right there looks pretty good. We've also added some detail in the water. Now let's open up the Landscape Enhancer. And I'm going to turn the Foliage Enhancer up. And look what it does to the greens. It adds a ton of color to the greens. However, it also adds that green color to the water. Now we don't want the water to look too green. So what I'm going to do is mask that out. I'm going to click Edit Mask, and I'm going to use a gradient mask. It sounds complex, but it's really easy. I'm just going to drag a line on the steps, and then let go right about there. And what this does is, on the top line, the effect is at 100%. As we let go to the bottom line, the effect is 0. So you can see the trees are still nice and green, but the water hasn't changed. Now we can adjust the foliage enhancer and set it exactly where we want it. And I think right there looks pretty good. Now let's move on to our artistic workflow. This plugin part is one of the most famous things that Luminar is known for, and that's sky replacement. Watch how easy this is. We're going to click on Sky Replacement. Let's select a sky. I'm going to select a nice blue sky number 2. And bam, just like that, a new sky is in our image. Look how much better that makes the image look. Now, if we really wanted to get detailed, we could take the sky and paint its reflection in the water, but I think it looks pretty good in this case. So now we have a brand new sky and a much more colorful image. Let's take a look at before and after. Before and after. What a difference, and so easy to do in Luminar. Okay, so here's our final image, and it is a portrait, and I wanted to show you what Luminar can do with portraits of people because it's pretty amazing. Now, this is the bride towards the end of her wedding night. This was taken in Alicante, Spain, and this is a library that was built in the 1100s, so definitely the oldest library I've ever been in. The light was not very good. This was shot at ISO 3200. Let's see what we can do with Luminar. Now, first of all, I'm going to open up my AI Enhance filter, and I'm going to slide that to the right and see what we gain by doing that. And you can see the books become a lot brighter, but I don't want them to get too bright because I don't want them to overpower the brightness of the bride. Let's go to our AI structure. We'll turn that up and give some more definition to our books. And notice that it doesn't touch the bride's face at all. Let's come down to denoise, and I'm going to zoom in at 100%. And you can clearly see the noise is visible. This again was shot at ISO 3200 on the Sony A7R III. I'm going to turn the denoise slider up a little bit, give it a minute or two to render, and a lot of the noise is gone down quite a bit. So let's zoom back out. Now we're going to go down to our portrait workflow, and we're going to start with AI Skin Enhancer. Now, as you can probably guess, the AI Skin Enhancer is going to look for skin in the image and enhance it. Let's see how it does. Let's zoom into 100% again, and let's push this to the right. And you can see that her skin has become a lot softer without really losing the detail. It doesn't quite have a plasticky look to it. It still keeps the texture of the skin. So here's before and after. It's just softening the detail a little bit. Now the portrait enhancer has several different sliders that will enhance your image. First of all, we have a face light, which is going to brighten the area of the face a little bit. We can whiten the eye whites a little bit. We can enhance the eyes, and what it's going to do is add a little bit of contrast and color into the center of the eyes. If she has dark circles, we can remove those. We can actually slim the face a little bit. However, I don't recommend really doing that. You can enlarge the eyes also to make it look like she's seen a ghost, but again, we're not going to do that, but just for kicks, we'll turn it up just a little bit. There we go. Eyebrow Improve. Kind of sounds like the name of a Chinese restaurant that's called Taste Good or Yum Yum Food, but Eyebrow Improve will make our eyebrows darker. Lip Saturation, Lip Redness, Lip Darkening, and there we go. So here's before and after. And just like that, our portrait is retouched. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. And if you decide to purchase Luminar, use the coupon code SIGLER25 and you'll save 25% at checkout. Have a great day and keep shooting.